president, president. But as a president, I also know that sometimes in the executive council, ministers of state and ministers always have some rivalry. Some manage the relationship better, some don't manage it very well. I remember before I left office, the head of staff is dead, and the national security advisor came to me and said that probably the best thing we do to reduce this friction between ministers of state and ministers is to divide ministries into smaller departments. And since our constitution says that every state must get a minister, let everybody who is member of the executive council be in charge of a department and should not be ministers of state and ministers. We're actually working on that before the election. It is important to point out that beyond focusing on the factors that define the relationship between the deputy and the principal in Nigeria, and many other countries, the book also examines the political history and trends of governance in our country from the colonial period to the present. So it is good, it's a good book that we all should read. And the issue of conflict between deputy governors and governors is actually something that we all need to ponder. I remember when we were elected in 1999, there are some states that the relationship between the elected governor, those are governor-elect and deputy governor-elect, become frosty even before the inauguration. Even before they were inaugurated, a situation where issues have been raised after primaries because the selection of a vice president is becoming a problem. I believe also maybe at the state level, selection of the running mate of governors becoming a problem. And every country amend their laws based on the challenges they face. This is the one area that Gandhi has raised. I believe that Nigerians need to have a discussion on it. I know the reviewer will tell us more about the contents of the book. I don't intend to review the book. I hope that it will also include information on whether Governor Gandhi will be making a case for more deputies to succeed their principals. Maybe you are making a case because your governor was good enough to nominate you. In fact, when I left office, and we were looking at the whole 36 states of the Federation, and we asked how many states that the governors were able to nominate work for their deputies to take over. And naturally, the deputy governor would look up to take over from his boss. But I remember at that time, before the Gambia experience, it was only like one person also nominated Gandhi. Yes, I became a governor, but it was by default. You know what happened in my state, that it was not elected nominations by my principal. So the clear case I can know is that of Yerima and Sigafi also and Gandhi. Why is it so? Ordinarily supposed not to be so. If relationship between a deputy governor and governor are good, at least in every circle, at least we expect a reasonable number of deputy governors to take over from their governors. And that is a problem in this country. Having placed centrally as both deputy and principal at different times, I will say that I am in the pole position to have. They include good personal relationship, accessibility, respect, and common focus on the part of the deputy. Loyalty, as far as the deputy governor of Kano State said it, loyalty, patience, cool-headedness, discipline, capacity, and sound judgment are essential qualities for minimizing disagreement, suspicion, and friction. And I always say, the deputy must not know that. Those ones are not so pronounced because the deputies have some clear responsibilities. And I believe what is causing the problem mainly is that for everything that the deputy governor will do, it depends on what the governor says you should do or you should not do. To me, it's not the best. I remember in our days, now these days they no longer use that balance. They said that the deputy governors have spare tires. So it's only when the military has function that the deputy governor become functional. And sometimes it was so bad when I was the deputy governor, because there are some states that when the governor travels out of the country and a mail comes, if whenever he's outside the country and an invitation comes for where he has to be, even if it's a social event or maybe a council of state or whatever program in Abuja, I don't need to even call Alamisi. I give the approval for the journey. My protocol will make costing, flight arrangement, allowances of aids and so on, and I will be giving the money. And I will go and represent him. I don't even need to call and clear the thing, as long as I'm convinced that that is where we should. If it's a program I feel we should, it's not necessary, I don't. But there are some states. Then, I don't know now, that the deputy governor has no power to even approve 100,000 to move and even represent the governor in even issues of national interest. These are areas, great areas that really need to be looked at. And this rampant impeachment of deputy governors is another great area. Immediately the governor and the deputy governor appears not to agree on something. They are all politicians, they are all political leaders. Then the governor will move the state assembly, and of course, deputy governors and peace.